All right, let's do this thing. What's up everyone? My name is Anna, and in today's video, we are covering the 5 questions you probably should not be asking a queer person. So I think the first question a lot of us get asked when we come out to whoever we come out to is, oh, when did you turn gay? When did you become gay? When did this happen to you? And it's like, well, nothing bad happened to me. I didn't turn anything. This is definitely someone that I have always been. It could have been so many different reasons as to why it took you set amount of years or whatever amount of time to come out. For some people, it's a safety reason. For some people, they just grew up in a household where being gay wasn't okay. And so why would they feel comfortable coming out so early and so young? Like, of course, you're gonna suppress those feelings or have those feelings, but just not share it with anybody. Speaking personally, I honestly just didn't even know, and that's something that I think a lot of people go through. I honestly just didn't know. Looking back, there are a ton of signs that I now see, but in the forefront, I was dating boys, I was crazy about boys, and I just never thought of myself as gay. But once it all kind of clicked for me, I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'm gay, and there was this sign and this sign and that sign and that sign. I've literally been gay my entire life. I just honestly didn't know, and that's totally okay. But you definitely don't need to give a person a reason or a time frame of when you turned gay. You can say around this time, yeah, that's when I realized for myself, and then it took me a little bit longer to come out to you. But you do not have to give anybody a reason when you turned gay, because science doesn't work that way. You always were. The next question that I personally can attest to that I've been asked probably a million times are you sure this isn't just a phase? Yes. If you want me to say it again, yes. My mom asked me this question. Love you, Mom. But yeah, it's hurtful. First of all, even if it is a phase, let that be a part of that person's journey. Let somebody figure out their sexuality for themselves, and don't try to force thoughts into that person's head. I think a lot of times, and I've even come across this too, where somebody comes out and you knew it all along, and you're like, oh, duh, I knew that. Well, it's probably not the best thing to say initially, because maybe that person didn't know that for themselves, and now they're subconsciously thinking, wow, did everybody always know I was gay? Why didn't I see this? This is so confusing now for me. And it could just throw them in this weird spiral of thought. Or if they did come out to you and you're like, I think it's just a phase, don't tell them. Don't tell them you think it's just a phase. Let that be their journey. If they come to you for advice, if they come to you and be like, do you think that this is me, or whatever question they may come or throw at you, I think that is when it's appropriate for you to maybe express your feelings and share maybe your thoughts, but let them know that, again, those are just your thoughts. They're not something that should persuade the person either way. For a lot of us, it's not just a phase. And I will say the only part of my coming out journey that went in phases was how I necessarily identified with my sexuality. When I first came out, I was like, I'm a lesbian. And then I was like, I don't think I am. And I just didn't know the right word to use. For me, using the word lesbian just never felt comfortable. And I listened to this one podcast. It's called Dyking Out. I listened to it on Apple Music, and they were talking about bringing the word queer back. And I was like, identifying as queer kind of leaves the table a little bit more open, instead of strictly identifying as a lesbian or strictly identifying as a gay male or bisexual or pansexual. It's kind of just I'm queer, it's cool. I prefer the word. That's the only word I use to describe myself. So the next question is a question I have been getting recently, and not for any specific reasons, a long-term relationship. The question can either be presented do you ever want to start a family one day? But it can be kind of this unintentional, backhanded, how are you supposed to start a family? It's pretty easy to answer that question it's 2020. Figured out ways to help straight couples have children when one person or the other isn't capable of producing, And that's definitely something that can be carried over to gay relationship. Have a sperm donor, whether you have someone that carries your baby, whether you adopt. All 3 of those options are options that straight couples also have. So it shouldn't really be anything that's rocket science to believe that gay couples can have a family and have children as well. Just because the 2 of us traditionally together can't have a child, that does not mean that we're not capable of having children, period. Just means we have to go about it a different route. And I really absolutely don't see anything wrong with that. It's our lives, it's our choices, and it really doesn't have to do with anybody else. The question I want to say maybe gets asked the most, and it's probably one of the most ignorant questions to ask, is who wears the pants in the relationship? We both wear pants. Like we both wear pants? I don't know. That question is so old school to me, and it's so like years and years and years old that like, why are you still asking that question? We have the same relationship dynamics as straight couples do. And I think it's very old school to assume that there has to be someone that takes on the female role and the male role of the relationship. Like, it's not about the person's gender, it's about who can provide what for the family and what for the relationship. And I think that needs to be emphasized more than like who wears the pants and who carries what gender role of the relationship. Like, we both clean the house, we both take care of each other, we do romantic things for each other. None of that has to be gendered, and just because society says straight is normal doesn't mean that normal means male, female means those people have different roles in the relationship. It's honestly just what the two people provide, and I don't really see why that has to be gendered. The question should be, are you two happy and are you two working well in the relationship? If the question is answered yes, then why does it matter? Duty calls. The last question is a question I feel like I've gotten asked quite often. And the question is, did men hurt you so bad that you have now switched to being in queer relationships? Everyone has their issues and their troubles and their past relationships. I have my fair share of them and definitely have issues. That's something that was my journey, and I have definitely gone through it. I think a lot of people have gone through it in one way or another. But I want to say that just because I was hurt in a lot of my past relationships has nothing to do with the horrible things that they did, had nothing to do with their gender. It just had to do that they were like a sucky person. But that didn't change who I was on the inside. I think all of those issues like made me stronger. Things didn't work out for one reason or another in the previous relationships that I've been in, and they've all taught me a lot of things. But I'm not gay because I was broken by those relationships. I'm gay because like I'm gay. It had absolutely nothing to do with the gender of the people that I dated in the past. Now I have dated women and I'm in a relationship with someone who identifies as non-binary, and that's where I'm more comfortable. I could never see myself, A, dating another person ever again. I'm in love. But B, I could just never see myself dating another man again, and it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that the men I dated in the past broke me. It just has to do with the fact that I'm gay and now I know. So I want to know what questions you all have been asked. Are there any questions that I've left out? I know that there are plenty of other horrible questions that people have asked you, but I want to hear them. Let's chat about them. Drop them in the comments below. I really want to hear the awful questions you've been asked. I'm sorry that you were asked them, but let's all discuss them. Let's all laugh about them at this point down below. And if you enjoy these wonderful, beautiful questions that I have been asked, please give this video a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel. I will learn it eventually. I'm thinking about kind of making this 5 questions you shouldn't ask. That's 10. 5 questions you shouldn't ask. Kind of maybe a little mini series on my channel. I have a few other ideas of groups of questions. If you have any that you would like me to cover, also leave those down below. I am open to any and all suggestions you guys have. And until next time, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.